Hey, what's going on, flight simmers? My name is Adam, and welcome back to another episode of Wings Over Europe. This is the third episode where we travel from Norway to Sweden, and joining me is Rowan.
Hello there.
This is the series where we take our shiny Information Alpha livery and we take it on a tour of Europe. So, let's get on with it. Right, so we're going to quickly set up the aircraft. I'll turn the IRS onto nav. Get things up and running before we start our briefing. Just so then by the time we've finished it should be all aligned. Okay, so Rowan, if you'd like to take it away on the briefing.
Yes, of course. So today we're going to be operating the flight AS003. Our call sign will be Alpha Air 003 or AXC 003. We're going to be departing from Oslo, which is Echo November Golf Mike, and arriving into Stockholm Orlando, which is Echo Sierra Sierra Alpha. We're going to be cruising at flight level 230 today, with a cost index of 21. Expected to take roughly on 5.6 tons, so we'll probably round up to 6 tons total. For our routing, we are expected to depart of runway 01 left on the Massive 4 Alpha departure, and then routing afterwards via the airway Zulu 183 to Legpo, then directing to Eltok for the Eltok 7 Mike into Stockholm on the 01 left runway as well. Flight time today should be just over an hour total time, and we're expected to take on 180 passengers with 0 cargo apparently. As for the weather today, it is mostly eastbound, so we should have a lovely tailwind pushing us along our cruise. And that pretty much sums up this briefing today. Are you happy with that?
Brilliant. Right, I'm happy with that, mate. Okay, so we're going to set up our weight and balance, finish up setting up the rest of the aircraft, and then we'll get the ground crew to push us out of here. We'll watch Rowan depart first as well, and then we'll shortly follow after him. I also would like to mention as well, at the beginning of the video you could see the previews of ENGM, which is Oslo. Orbex have kindly gifted us the copy of Norway and also a copy of Sweden, so I'd like to say a massive thank you to them. If you would like to check out the airport in further details, the links to that will be in the description below. Previously, when we arrived here the last episode, we were using the freeware copy, and I have to say it's a magnificently major upgrade from the previous version. I think me and Roman can both agree that we're quite blown away with this airport. So yeah, if you'd like to take a look, then use the links in the description below. Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck. My name is Adam, and I will be your captain on today's Alpha Airways flight number 3 to Stockholm from Oslo. We'll be cruising at 23,000 feet, and throughout the journey we'll be flying into some weather systems, so turbulence is to be expected. In the meantime, we're waiting for the last few bags to be loaded on.
Check completed. Pipe has been inserted.
Alright, park and brake release.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start
Okay.
at wheel.
Start the engines. Got AP bleed on. You can come on.
Flight attendants, armed doors, and cross-check.
We got engine number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please as we go through the following safety instructions. In the event that there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask and document overhead. Place the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally as oxygen is flowing even if the mask is not inflated. Be sure to adjust your own mask before helping others. In the event of a water leak, life vests are located under your seat. Tools will be tabbed and open the pouch. Slip the vest over your head and wrap the strap around your waist and mask. Tap with your vest to inflate as you exit the plane. Make sure all seats are in the upright position and trays are put away before we take off. Thank you and enjoy your flight.
Commencing push.
Okay, parking brakes set.
All engines clear. Start at wheel.
We'll start engine number 2 now. Okay, hand signal received. Let's do our after start checks. We'll turn the APU off now. And APU bleed. Arm the spoilers, we'll go with flaps too.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Okay, let's start our taxi. Okay, I'm going to choose this intersection here, Alpha 2. We'll have plenty of runway for the departure. Turn our landing lights on. The strobe lights can come on now. The approach is looking clear. And there's nobody on the runway. Okay, a bit of forward pressure. Manflex, SRS, runway and auto throttle blue. Knots. On and rotate. Ready to climb. Gears coming up. And spoilers disarmed. And gear up. All the lights are extinguished. Okay, so we're going to settle into the cruise now, and we're going to run this week's instalment of Cruise Cuppa. Welcome to this week's instalment of Cruise Cuppa. This topic has been brought to us by 747 King. He kindly asked in the comments of the last video to talk about our flying experience in real life. So starting with myself, obviously, because I've not been flying as long as Rowan has been, I could probably talk about it quicker. So I've been doing my flying now on and off for about 8 months. It's mainly due to weather and also sort of being busy on the weekends with work. But I'm progressing quickly. I mean, I'm just about to do my solo, which will be interesting. And then afterwards I need to start working on my exams. So that'll be pretty cool as well. But it's all progressing quite well.
Very nice. So what aircraft did you fly then?
So at the moment I'm flying the PA-28. It's quite a nice aircraft to fly, actually, I must say. It's quite stable, it's quite forgiving in a way. Pretty good. But how about you?
So obviously you're doing yours in a modular way, so you're basically doing it almost part-time, really, is what people like to call it.
Yeah.
Whereas when I did my flight training, I moved to the States for a full-time course, which was an accelerated program, where I went from 0 hours all the way up to my CFI, including my commercial multi-engine in the middle. So I did that all in about 8 months. I think it took me about 3 weeks, it took me to solo. It might have been 2.5 weeks, I don't know. It was very, very fast, I'll say that. The aircraft I was flying was primarily the DA40NG, so the turbo diesel, which is really nice. Having a turbocharger and flying diesel is literally a dream for single engine aircraft, I have to say. It's really, really easy. I mean, obviously with the Warrior, for you, it's very, very stable aircraft, but then in a turbo diesel aircraft, you have a lot less stuff to worry about, I guess.
The engine's probably a little bit easier to manage.
Yeah,
I guess where it's FADEC, obviously mine's, you have to use like the mixture controls and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. So we're not worrying about, it's just throttle and go, really, and it's all computer controlled, which is why it's so easy to learn to fly, which is why it's such a great aircraft to learn to fly in, really. It does have its faults, it does have its downside, obviously, because I've learned only on diesel aircraft, and if I go to fly avgas, I've got very, very little experience, if not any experience to actually understand it. But it's not too bad. For my multi-engine flight, I also flew the DA42 as well, which is basically the same aircraft, just with 2 engines. It's exactly the same concept. Interior is basically the same, and it was once again probably the best. I think they consider the 42 the best training aircraft for multi-engine, actually, because of how easy it is to fly. You're able to actually focus on the flying instead of worrying about stuff which is going on inside of the cockpit, which is brilliant, really. So at the moment I'm not flying. I'm waiting to move back to the States so I can continue on my job as a flight instructor. But then I also probably have other plans down the line to work in the airlines in the UK. So at this moment I'm just taking it as it goes, really. I can't really rush into things too much, especially when it comes to aviation, because everything has to take its time. But that's basically been my experience so far IRL when it comes to flying. So good question, 747 King.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested in looking into doing their private pilot's license or anything above that, then definitely take a look at your local airfield and take a trial flight, because that's the best way to obviously get into doing your flying and getting some experience under your belt in the real world.
Yeah, and if you have any questions at all when it comes to flying, please make sure you join our Discord and shoot us a question, shoot us a message, and we'll be happy to answer it as well.
Lovely stuff. Okay, so we're going to start our descent now down to flight level 110. I've just inputted the arrival data into the MCDU. You can see Rowan ahead of us, so it looks like we may need to slow down slightly. Okay, I think it's time to turn the seatbelt signs on. We'll shortly be turning our landing lights on as well once we dip below 10,000 feet. You can see Rowan out there on our TCAS display. We'll shortly be doing the approach into Stockholm, so I'll see you once we're about to capture the localizer and glide slope. Okay, so we're approaching 10,000 feet now. We can turn the anti-ice off because there's no longer ice detected. And we'll go ahead and turn on the landing lights. And the rest of the lights can come on as well. Continuing our descent down to 8,000 feet, we'll shortly then continue our descent down to 2,500 to then join the ILS 01 left at Stockholm. Okay, so before we just join the localizer here, we're going to select medium auto brake. Arm the spoilers. All the lights and everything is on up above. Seatbelt signs are also on. We'll warn the cabin crew. Cabin crew seats for arrival. And we'll set flaps 1. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to press the localizer button. There we go, we're joining the localizer. Speed check flaps 2. And we're just about to come into the glide slope as well, so what we can do is we'll press the approach button. Flaps 3. Select autopilot 2. Speed check flaps 3. And we'll go gear down.
$500. $100 above. 100. Minimum 50.
Continue.
40. 30, 20, 10, 5.
Okay, reverse is green. And manual braking. Reverse is stowed. Stuff. Go ahead, turn the landing lights off. We'll get the APU started. And we'll taxi to the gate. Which for us will be nice and easy because we're going to be right next to Rowan. We're on his right side. Stand 42, this is us. Okay, park and brake set. We'll turn both the engines off. Quite unusual jetways, but anyway, we'll give Rowan a call and we'll have a quick discussion about how that flight went. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, mate. How's your flight?
It was very good, thanks.
Nice, good stuff.
A lot of IMC coming in. I'm not sure about you, but I had a bit of a low-level cloud coming through on funnel, but it was really nice.
Oh, nice. I thought it opened up quite well towards the end of the flight. A bit of a nice sunset arrival. It was quite nice. So, yeah, it was quite smooth.
Fair enough. It must have been just a small cell which flew over the airport on my arrival.
Hopefully you had a nice landing.
Yes, it was actually quite good, thanks.
Couldn't have been done on this episode without the help of Orbex. So we just want to have a quick moment to have this sponsored segment.
Oh, brilliant.
So in this week's episode, we have been sponsored by Orbex. And the one question I have for you is, what is the most frustrating part about Microsoft Flight Simulator?
Oh, good question. Well, I'd probably have to say the in-game saving. So if we have a crash at desktop, you can't really reload back into the same aircraft or the location where you previously was.
Well, have I got the solution for you? Bringing you Volanta Premium. It comes with excellent features such as cloud autosaves. It saves your flight every few minutes. It's configurable, allowing you to load from a save in the sim after crashes. This works on P3D, FSX and MSFS. If you're a standard user and you upgrade to Premium, you'll then gain access to schedules where you can find your next flights with their powerful real-world schedule research. You could also queue up a series of flights and fly them at any time with the rosters function. So you also have the ability to have a remote pause and unpause function with your simulator. I think this is actually pretty cool because you can do it from your desktop or the app. This works on FSX, P3D, X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Sim, and it's pretty simple to use and set up. You also have cloud screenshots, which allow up to 4K quality on your flights. And you're also able to sync your simulator with the time that is currently real world, which is a feature not predominantly available through FSX and P3D, as there's a few limitations within those sims. You also get a premium status to show off your status with dedicated premium icons, Discord benefits, and you also gain exclusive Orbex discounts. So if you would like to see more about the features within Volanta Premium, then be sure to head to the description below. And once again, thank you to Orbex for helping out with the sponsor of today's video. Anyway, Rowan, thanks for joining me on this flight. Hopefully I can see you over in Helsinki on the next one.
Yes, of course. See you then.
Alright, see you, mate. And that about concludes this week's episode of Wings Over Europe. Thank you very much for joining me on today's flight. Our next one will take place from Stockholm and will be arriving into Helsinki. I look forward to seeing you on board. If you did enjoy this episode, then please be sure to hit the subscribe button, like the video and ding dong the notification bell. This not only helps keep you up to date with the latest episodes of Wings Over Europe, but it also keeps you up to date with the latest Information Alpha content. We also have a Discord, the link to that will be in the description below. There you will be able to gain access to the Alpha Airways liveries and chat amongst the rest of our community. So with that being said, I'm going to pop into Stockholm, have a look about, enjoy some time off, and then get back to the airport to perform our next flight. I thank you all very much for watching today's video. Make sure to go to the description below to find out more about Orbex and how you can get Volanta Premium. But I'm going to leave you with that. My name has been Adam, and you've been watching Information Alpha. See ya!